What's up, all you Minties? Welcome to Near Mint Condition. This is the Uncanny Omar, and join me today as I go over my list of the top 20 most wanted DC Omnibus. My most wanted. So, let's take a look. And welcome back, everybody. Now, I've already done my list of my top 20 most wanted Marvel Omnis, and now I'm doing my list of my top 20 most wanted DC Omnis. There's going to be a separate list for Batman Omnis, X-Men Omnis, and then my most wanted Absolute and Gallery editions. So, let's go ahead and get started. As always, this is just my list. I would love to know what yours are. Leave those comments down below. And let's go ahead and start this party. So, kicking it off with number 20, so it is a countdown, and I've even mapped it out, so I'll put somewhere on the video, usually down here, what I think should be collected in these. So, kicking it off with Wonder Woman by Greg Rucka. Now, the Greg Rucka run of Wonder Woman I'm talking about is the pre-Infinite Crisis run. So, not the Rebirth run, which is phenomenal, and I would love that collected later, but this run before Infinite Crisis, it is superb. It is probably one of my second favorite Wonder Woman run of all time, and I think it's a great introduction to the character. And I would also include the Blackest Night Wonder Woman 3-issue miniseries in there. Number 19, one of my most wanted for a long time, and that is WARLORD by Mike Grell. So the WARLORD was a series that started like in the late 70s, lasted all the way up until the early 80s. And it went on 133 issues, but I'm not going to go through all of those. Not yet. Let's not get greedy. I'm just going to mainly collect the issues of Mike Grell's run, including the times when he pretty much was doing the covers and I think his wife was writing the book at the time. This is one that I've wanted for a long time. It was in my 2019 list, and of course it's the story of Travis Morgan, and I feel like this is a time to cash in on stories like this with swords and sorcery and Conan. I mean, Marvel was kicking ass with Conan. Come on, we need something like this from DC, and I think this would be a good one. And then, like I said, later on, we could continue the series. Number 18, Green Lantern Corps, and I've got it down to 3 Omnis, collecting this wonderful just era of Green Lantern. This all happens after Green Lantern Rebirth, and it kicks off with Green Lantern Recharge. So while Jeff Johns was helming Green Lantern with Hal Jordan, this is where all the other Green Lanterns were, like this is where Guy Gardner was, this is where Kyle Rayner is, John Stewart. They're all hanging out here with a brand new cast of characters, and we also have some returning characters. And I think 3 Omnis would do it. So I love this run. I'm surprised because Peter Tomasi at one time said that they were going to do it, and for some reason they haven't yet. So hopefully one day. Number 17, surprised this didn't come out this year, or was announced for this year, but hey, there's always time. Suicide Squad by John Ostrander, volumes 1 and 2, just collecting that wonderful era of the Suicide Squad where anything goes and anybody can be killed off. And I even included the From the Ashes here, which is the miniseries that happened a few years ago. And all of it now has been collected in trade paperback format, so I figured, hey, why not give us the omnibus treatment? I think instead what DC decided to do, though, was give us the trade paperbacks just spotlighting some characters, which I guess is cool if you've not read it. Superman is my next one, but I'm calling this Superman Up and Away, volumes 1 and 2. And it's basically the era after Infinite Crisis. So I was originally going to call this the Jeff Johns Omnibus, but Jeff Johns wrote part of it. I would love the Kurt Busiek era to be collected in here too. As a matter of fact, I think the Jeff Johns Superman Omnibus made it in my 2019 top 30 most wanted. But include the Kurt Busiek run, include the James Robinson stuff, the Fabian Nicieza stuff, and of course the Jeff Johns doing all of this wonderful era of Superman, which all happens 1 year later after Infinite Crisis. Number 15, Sandman Mystery Theater. Oh my gosh, this era was so good. Everybody, of course, was buying Sandman, and everybody was talking about Sandman. Hardly anybody talked about Matt Wagner's series of Sandman Mystery Theater, and it was actually coming out at the same time. And it's about the story of the Golden Age, Wesley Dodd, the original Sandman. It's the guy that shot with the gun that would put you to sleep. Not forever, just the gun that would put you to sleep. Anyway, he's the one that wears the gas mask. Great character, and this all takes place in the 30s, and I think it's well due time that this series gets to be collected. Actually, I don't think they ever finished out the trade paperbacks, whether it was the big, thick trade paperbacks or the skinny trades, because this lasted 70 issues. Number 14, Supergirl by Peter David. Now, I broke this down to 3 omnis, collecting all 80 issues plus others of this wonderful series. Now, of course, this is Matrix. So I do, in my mapping here, I included her first appearance, and it's the original Supergirl died in Crisis on Infinite Earths, and this is a new take on Supergirl. So this is Matrix, Linda Danvers era, but it's all written by Peter David. It is phenomenal, some of my favorite comics, and again, the trade paperbacks were cut short, didn't finish out the whole run. Speaking of things that were cut short and not finishing out the whole run, Starman by James Robinson. Now, Starman by James Robinson, I've cut it into 2 omnis. It is coming out in compendium format, which I think is phenomenal because the trade paperbacks are out of print. The omnibus editions, which were just the standard size hardcovers, all 6 of those are out of print. I think it's time that people that only get the deluxe editions or oversized hardcovers or omnis have a chance to read this series. It is phenomenal, and it would just need 2. As a matter of fact, I mean, they hinted at it and it was solicited, just got canceled, sadly. Number 12, Hitman by Garth Ennis. I love this series. One of my favorite series. This is the story of Tommy Monaghan, and from beginning to end, it's the character that was created by Garth Ennis and John McCrea, and oh man, it's so good. He's just a hitman for hire. He was an ex-Marine from the Gulf War, and he runs up on Batman, runs up against the Justice League, and that ending, oh man, it's freaking... so hopefully, I mean, it's only 60 issues plus some others, but we've had a couple of trades. I don't think they finished out the series either. Number 11, Jonah Hex by Palmiotti and Grell. So I mainly want to focus on the original 60 issues and then No Way Back, but there was a follow-up to this. This is the All-Star Western, and we can focus on that later. That was during the New 52 era, but I think we need the first part collected. Number 10, Young Justice. Now, this will be broken down, I think, into 3 omnis, just because... holy crap, The Sins of Youth, I think that could be an omnibus by itself. It was a big, huge crossover. But this is the era of Peter David, just writing these kids like Superboy, Robin, Tim Drake Robin. This is where we got Cassie, Wonder Girl coming into a teen book. And then we have a bunch of other characters that show up. So while Teen Titans was going on, I think that this time it was written by Dan Jurgens. This was where the kids were hanging out, where the kids' sidekicks were hanging out, and this is a phenomenal series. And I think they've done 4 of the trade paperbacks. Hopefully they'll continue that, but I would love them in oversized format. And I would think Graduation Day would be the bookend of that. Another Wonder Woman series, but my favorite one of all time, and that is Wonder Woman by William Messner-Loebs. I think this could be all collected in one. So you got artwork in here by Mike Deodato Jr. and, of course, William Messner-Loebs writing it. There's a couple of Christopher Priest books in here, but I don't want to miss anything. That's just the way I am. So I figured I'd include them in here. And this era introduces us to Artemis. It's got beautiful artwork, or what I like to call beautiful 90s artwork. There's a bit to that. It's back when Mike Deodato Jr. had a Jim Lee type of art style to his art. And yeah, okay, I'm not the biggest fan of Diana in that short in blue jean jacket era, but I did like Artemis. I thought her character design was awesome. And then we have Ed Benes actually doing the artwork on the Artemis Requiem miniseries. Number 8, Spectre by John Ostrander. This is a series that for some reason has not been collected. I think it's got 2 trades if I'm not mistaken, and hardly anybody talks about it. And it has Tom Mandrake on artwork for the most part, and it's wonderful. If you're a fan of the Spectre, and we've had the Spectre recently with Jim Aparo on artwork, so that has come out, so maybe there is a need for this character. Aquaman by Peter David. Of course, I have to put that in here. That's one of my favorite runs of Aquaman. Actually, that is my favorite run of Aquaman. And Kicking it off with the Atlantis Chronicles. Now, I did add the Dan Abnett and Andy Lanning couple of issues to wrap up Aquaman's run by Peter David, because he didn't really get to finish out that storyline, and I think if you just end it where he left the book, it ends abruptly. So that's why I included those 2 issues. I think it's only 2 in here, by Dan Abnett and Andy Lanning. I almost called him in DNA. Number 6, Astro City. How in the world do we not have an oversized collected edition? I mean, the hardcovers, the standard size hardcovers are out of print. Most of them. Some of the trades are out of print. And this, with the way that I've got this in here, is taking us all the way through the Dark Age. So before Volume 3. And this all takes place in, it's a superhero anthology book. If you've not read this, about the Samaritan, Crackerjack, the Hangman. And they all take place pretty much in this fictional city called Astro City. Covers are done by Alex Ross. Beautiful covers. It is all written by Kurt Busiek, and most of the series, most of it is drawn, not all of it, by Brent Anderson, whose artwork is stellar in this. But I don't know how this book has not come out in Omnibus or Deluxe Edition yet. So hopefully that will change. Flash by Mark Waid. Of course, this book is selling. This book, the trade paper, I think Volume 6 is out of print. And there's a much need for Flash in omnibus format. I mean, if you think of, when I think of Flash, I think of Mark Waid and Jeff Johns. They go kind of hand in hand. So I'm really surprised we don't have this yet. And it would be a series of probably 3 omnis to collect his entire run. And I did skip the issues by Grant Morrison and Mark Miller because it just wouldn't make any sense to add them in there. Number 4, Gail Simone's Secret 6. Broken down to 2 omnis here. Collecting the original Villains United series, and then all 39 issues of the Secret 6. This was a wonderful, what I like to think, a modernization of the Suicide Squad. It's got the same premise. It's got awesome, Catman is so Ragdoll, oh my gosh, it's got so many awesome characters in here. And surprised that we haven't had a proper omnibus of this yet. This also was in my 2019 video. Number 3, I'm a greedy man, I don't care. Hellblazer, by everyone. We have the Garth Ennis omnibus. Awesome, great start. But let's get the Jamie Delano stuff in there. Let's get the Warren Ellis stuff, Andy Diggle, Mike Carey. All these wonderful creators that worked on this book with phenomenal artwork. All 300 issues, I want it all. And we can map it around that Garth Ennis omnibus. Just saying, it's possible. But absolutely want that. Number 2, The Question by Dennis O'Neil. That can be an all-in-one. Another series that, for some reason, trade paperbacks, they only had 1 printing. Some have gone, long gone. Another series that I don't hear a lot of people talk about, or I do hear some people mention, and it's just like, when are they going to finish this out? Or when are they going to give us a proper omnibus? So I hope that one day we get this character in omnibus format. It's a phenomenal series. It's funny. It's quirky, but it's got a lot of heart. All right, number 1. No-brainer. You all know what this is. Superman the Man of Steel omnibus. Now, 2 volumes for this time around. I think the first time I did this video, I wanted to do the triangle years, but now I'm less greedy. Now I'm thinking, come on, DC, we can actually make this happen. We've got the oversized the standard edition hardcovers out. There's 4 of those. We've got the 9 softcover trade paperbacks that are out. And then we can go and move forward, move towards the triangle years to take us all the way to Exile, and then put something like the Panic in the Sky in between Exile and Death and Return of Superman. That's just, I'm getting way ahead of myself. But of course, I want that. That's freaking John Byrne kicking off the Man of Steel, to me, which is one of the greatest retelling origins of Clark Kent's Superman, Kal-El. It's awesome. It introduces a lot of characters, and it plays, I mean, there was a one-time this era here is only 3 books. By the time we get to the Triangle years, it's 4 books. So Superman was a huge flagship title for DC and has not that many modern omnis. I am adding a bonus in here. I didn't do honorable mentions because I figured I wanted to keep this tight, and it made it harder for me to take off things without mentioning other books. I could cheat and be like, well, that would be 21, 22. But there is a bonus, and my bonus is, this is probably my most wanted out of Marvel and DC. Keeping in mind X-Men and Batman and and that is Marvel versus DC. I want everything. I want the classic stuff, the new Teen Titans and the X-Men, the Hulk and Spider-Man, and then the new stuff too, the modern stuff, the stuff with DC versus Marvel, Marvel versus DC, the 4-issue miniseries, the amalgam stuff. That should be its own omnibus. This, I realize, is a license thing, but holy crap with this sell. Can you imagine that? Like, I remember when we had a placeholder on Amazon for years for Marvel versus DC omnibus, and of course got canceled, but oh my gosh, that would sell like crazy. Maybe someday. But that is my list. And if any of these books were to come out, like Mike Grell's Green Arrow, remember I said that would be cool, Paul Dini's Batman, hey, I said that too. Check out our sponsor, CheapGraphicNovels.com, your online source for collected editions up to 50% off retail price. Cheap Graphic Novels prides itself on excellent packaging, so your stuff gets to you in excellent condition, and they have amazing customer service. Check out their bargain deals for up to 90% off cover price. And for all you Minties that are watching, if you're a first-time customer, don't forget to mention that Near Mint Condition sent you their way for a promotional credit on free shipping on your next order. Now, this is only for U.S. customers. CheapGraphicNovels.com, your source for the hottest books with deep discounts, customer service, and excellent shipping that will keep you coming back for more. And those were my top 20 most wanted DC Omnis. Come back to the channel. I will be doing a list for my most wanted Batman Omnis, most wanted X-Men Omnis, most wanted Absolute Editions, and most wanted Gallery Editions. And please, by all means, leave your comments down below. Let me know what you would want in your top 20 most wanted DC Omnis. It is hard when you just limit yourself to 20 instead of 30. But it's a lot of fun to put this together. Thank you all so much for watching. Please don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. We are on Spreadshop and on Patreon. Amazing ways to support the channel if you can do so. More importantly, everyone, please stay healthy, stay safe. Much love.